Oh, so we talked about those who are getting into a fresh career job hunt. It's now time to focus on those who are already at a job that they enjoy and are trying to figure out why the growth is not coming. Let's get into it. Are you ready? Oh, okay. So you've been at a place for 2 years, maybe more, and you're trying to figure out what's the deal. So today's discussion is going to focus on the information you need if you are already at a job that you currently enjoy and you're not liking where things are moving. Maybe they're moving too slow, you're not getting the traction you assumed. Whatever it is, that is today's focus. So here are our topics. It's cheaper to keep her. I just like that title. We're going to talk about that employers know it's cheaper to keep current talent than to find new talent, right? How do you use that information to your advantage? Start with that one first. Then we're going to talk about pretty facades, because a lot of people are so quick to be impressed with words, and very mediocre moves do not. Make sure you are keeping your best interest in mind. And then lastly, closed mouths don't get fed. I must have told my team that 1,000 times. There are no room for assumptions, especially when it comes to getting what you want for your career. Do not assume, do not think somebody knows something. Let's focus on being intentional. So first things first, it is cheaper to keep her. It's cheaper for employers to keep their current staff versus trying to find new staff. Now, hear me out really quick, because again, I'm speaking from experience as a hiring manager, dealing with salary budget, staffing budgets, the whole 9 yards, and knowing that, yes, there are times where we were in a hiring freeze. However, a hiring freeze doesn't mean that you, as a current employee, cannot navigate to waters to work in your best interest. So let's talk about, first of all, the average cost for new hires. Now, depending on the industry, could be a little bit more. I have not seen less, but a little bit more. But on average right now, it costs a company $5,000 to bring on a new hire. They haven't even made any money yet. They may not even stay 30 days. $5,000. Now you add that up, depending on how many new hires a person brings in, that gets a little high. So it is so much easier and cheaper to promote from within. And I'm going to say this loosely, throw a few dollars to your current staff to keep them satisfied. It is so much easier, because $5,000 is just the background checks and all the other things to get them on. That doesn't include training, doesn't include any of that stuff to get them to a place where they can start making actual money. That's not part of this equation. So it is just easier to keep the people that you already have. So let's talk about, how do you keep your current staff happy and satisfied? Now, you probably heard this. It's a lot easier to get a job when you have a job. So if you are currently at a place that you enjoy and you're just not getting the feel, you're just not getting the mood that you want, and I'm going to say this with some graciousness, you are I don't want to use exceptional, but you're a great employee. Good is just doing what you're supposed to do, okay? And good is not going to get you any kind of salary increases. So I'm going to go ahead and say that, right? It's not about the task, that you're a hard worker. That's a good thing. Every single job needs worker bees. We know that. Like every single job, even the beehive knows they need worker bees. Like everybody needs it. Like you need a couple of drones to just get stuff done. So we're not talking to those people. I hate to say it, but I'm just giving you the real deal. If you are a great employee that is doing what needs to be done and then some, okay? Go out and look for another job. Bring that better offer to the table to say, hey, I enjoy working here. I've been here 2 years. I'm loving it, blah, 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 blah. However, I feel as if I'm just not getting the traction that I need, the move that I want, blah, blah, blah. And you throw that off on the table. This is your negotiating hour. Now, I'm going to say this really quick. You just don't go in there all willy-nilly. You're going to have to make sure that you got your words together and your numbers down. But that's the best time to go in and negotiate for a better salary. Have a true better offer on the table. Now, let's go back to those who are good or just getting by. If that is the employee that you are there right now, don't bother because you make it embarrass yourself. Okay? Some of us feel like if I left the job, the world would stop. The world does not stop for anybody. As my mama said, you be dead and gone. They're going to find somebody to work your shift. So just understand that. If you're a great to exceptional employee, then you have a higher rate or chance of making this work for you. If you are just doing bare minimum, I would not attempt this move. That's just my PSA. Okay, so with that comes realistic expectations. More money tends to come with more strings. And those strings are typically attached to more responsibilities. So if you're making a minor salary move, then it may not change much. It's been like, you know what? We really like Sarah. We really like Sonia. Let's go ahead and give her the extra 50 cents, extra dollar to keep her satisfied. Fine, whatever. If you're making big money moves, right? 10, 20, 30% increase in your salary, you should expect that you're going to have to give up more time and probably take on more training and take on more. You're not making this money without some sacrifices. That should be known. So this goes back to asking yourself, if you really want it, are you ready to go get it? Because a lot of us talk about it, but we don't really want to go get it. There needs to be that conversation with yourself. So speaking of conversations, let's talk about pretty facades. And, facades are just fake fronts. There are times when your employer will do the minimum, but it looks like a lot. Now, to each his own. I know where I stood as an employee. I didn't like brownie points and I didn't like, pats on the back. I don't need that. I need opportunities. I need more cash in my checking account. That's what I was going for. But everybody has their own something, depending on where you are in your career. That's the catch. So first things first, it's brownie points and gold stars. For some people, daily praise and accolades will do the job to keep them satisfied. That works for some people. All depends on where they are. And so when employers know that, they will shower certain employees with brownie points and gold stars and all the, oh my God, you're so great. We couldn't do it without you. They're going to do all of that. Okay. Now, genuine appreciation goes a long way. It can, but don't let the shiny words be the only way that your employers show that they appreciate you. To each his own. Just saying. But me, myself, whenever I brought on a new team member, I asked them, are you a person who needs a pat on the back, gold stars, brownie points, ribbons? Do you need that? Because for where I was in my career, when you go further up the ladder, you're not going to get all of the pat on the back and great job. You're not going to get all that. You get opportunities to shine, right? It changes. But ask yourself what you need to get it done. We're not all the same. But if that's all you're getting, that may wear thin after a while. So check it. The second thing is lateral moves. Now, a lot of people love to have a fancy title. I mean, people love titles. What do you do? I'm the whatever. Okay. Do not be blinded by shiny titles. There's a thing called the lateral moves where you are getting a new title, but you don't get any new money. You're just sliding over. So you're getting the exact same money for a different title, and sometimes there's a possibility of taking on more responsibilities. What? Yeah, lateral moves. Before you sign that offer, check all the details, right? Because a lot of people see what's on the outside. Oh my gosh, so-and-so got promoted, but did she really? Did he really get promoted? Or was it a simple lateral move? Different job, different title, same old money. But they have to do like 5 more extra things. Okay? So don't be blinded by the titles. Lastly, minor money. So this goes with lateral move because they tend to go hand in hand. You got to check it. Do the math before you accept that new offer. Will this new increase replace your opportunity for the annual increase? Now, a lot of companies do not allow you to double dip. If you get a promotion, which typically has a higher percentage rate, 10, 20, 30, depending on your job and industry, a lot of them will not allow you to come back to the river, back to the bucket when it's time for your annual increase. You forego that. You forego that to get this higher because depending again on your industry, annual increase could be anywhere from 0% to like 5-10%, whatever. But if you just received an increase, they're not going to give you more. No, they're going to make you wait another year and a half. Right? So before you say, yeah, I'll take it, ask all the questions. Ask all the questions. And then along with that, if your employer has compensation bands, like each job has a range of how high you can go. If you're on the tip top of that ceiling, you may only get, I don't know, an extra $1,000, which is like, oh my God, but divide that by 12 or 52 weeks and insurance and everything else. You're like, oh, well, shoot. Exactly. Right? If you're already at the tip of your compensation band, do you get anything else? These are the conversations that we rarely have when we're just signing on the dotted line because we're so excited about what's to come. But make sure that you're doing what's best for you and your career. Okay? Lateral moves and minor money. Think about those before you go all gung-ho on, yes, I'm good for everything. Nope. Do that math. And it's perfectly fine to ask for a moment or two to check the numbers. This is a business. It's a business move for them. It should be a business move for you too. Lastly, closed mouths don't get fed. I told my team every time, closed mouths don't get fed. And that's from everything when it comes to just life in general. If you need help, say you need help. But in this particular situation, we're talking about speaking for yourself. Number one, no assumptions. There are no room for assumptions. People like to do I just figured that they knew that I was here for 2 years, that they would just include me in. Stop figuring stuff, stop thinking things, stop assuming stuff. Cut it out, right? You need to make sure that the person who is focused on growing your career and growing your salary is you. Act accordingly. It's not your manager's job. It ain't your assistant manager's job. It ain't your boss's job, CEO. This is your job because it's your life. It's your career. Make sure you're the one who is taking control. So with that, you must be your best advocate. If you don't want to fall through the cracks, you don't want to get left behind, you must be your best advocate. You want to be considered for a certain job. You want to be in the next running for a certain promotion. You must clearly articulate those thoughts to the appropriate people. Don't talk to the assistant of the assistant of the assistant manager. You need to get yourself in front of the person who's making that decision. Now, every single business has their own rules and regulations and communication trails and blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, make sure your boss knows. And then make sure if there is a person who's over the certain hiring thing that they know. It's good to have an email trail. Let people know you are serious about making this next step. When we go with they should have known, I've been here for like forever and I'm always here and they're always telling me that I'm doing a great job and da-da-da. Those are assumptions. And don't nobody care about them assumptions. So, quick little side note, just because you've been a place for a very long time gives you absolutely no play whatsoever. I was at my job for 25 years. I don't know if that'll ever happen again. But just because you've been someplace for 2 years doesn't mean that you're a person interested in taking on more responsibility. I never want to be a GM, never want to be a director, barely want to be a manager, barely. So the idea that, oh, well, they've been here so long, why don't they want to? Because everybody don't want that. Everybody don't want it. Okay. So please don't assume or don't think because you've been someplace for a very long time that you are naturally considered to be part of the running. Those are lies we tell ourselves. Stop telling yourself those lies. If you want something, you need to articulate it clearly to the appropriate people. That's the point. Now, this last one, this is where we get caught up. Because everybody assumes, well, I showed up for work, I should get something. Well, you get a check. You get to keep your job another 2 weeks, or at least for the next day. Be prepared to do the work. The reality is that there's work involved in major money moves. Major money, major career moves. It could be getting more training. It could be getting certified and staying certified. It could be taking on more responsibility. It could be a lot of things. Fact of the matter is, it requires more work. Now, I remember a lady told me that she wanted my job. She's like, you know what? I want to be like you. Just go to meetings all day. First of all, I didn't go to meetings all day. Can we just check that? But I thought to myself, it's interesting how you look at my job and you think all I do is sit around, eat bonbons, and go to meetings all day. Forget the fact that when sales are not met and when other key performance indicators are not met, I have to stand on a chopping block and explain why something didn't happen and give a reason and a plan on how I'm going to fix it. Things I don't even really control. Right? Like, we only see what we want to see. And sometimes there are people who are bad at the job, who are doing the job that make us think, well, this ain't about nothing because, Billy got that job and he ain't doing nothing. Yeah, those are not the proper examples. So don't follow that lead, okay? Trust, somebody is working really hard to get Billy out of that spot. So just know that if you're going to go for this major money or career move, there is work involved. Anything worth having is worth working hard for it. Now, I don't mean struggle bus. I don't mean that, but you do have to put some work in. What is hard for you, I should say, getting certified, taking more classes, going to classes after work, all those things, growing your leadership skills, growing your public speaking skills, whatever it is, it requires more work. Be prepared to do the work. Otherwise, let's not complain. Okay. So we're giving you both sides of the coin here. Now, here we go. Career coaches, what do? We can help prepare you for a new path. That's our job, right? Career coach can assist you in preparing for a major career move. We're looking at how do you negotiate this new salary. We can even work on specific competencies that will help grow your career. It's really not a puzzle, but there is a strategy to it. There's a strategy to it. And if you don't work with the strategist, not that you have to, but if you do, you have a higher chance of getting what you want, right? And take out the stress, trying to figure out why things aren't working. We can also help craft a resume that uses your current job and current life experiences to get you to your next career move. That's the beauty of working with a career coach. We have all those things in our back pocket. And it can seem when you're working with a career coach that there isn't any understanding. Trust, a number of career coaches have had a previous life as a hiring manager, a recruiter, a general manager, something, some field, some work that has dealt with managing people and growing careers. They're not coming off of the street and just saying whatever. Now, take that back. There may be a couple, so check that. But most career coaches have a history in working with people and getting them to their destination. So when you are picky about who you work with, we're going to give you the real deal. We're not going to coddle you. We're not going to make you feel good to make you feel good. Trust. This is really focused on growing you and putting you where you want to be. But that does require some work. And we, again, are strategic in how we do that. So I want to thank you again for stopping in to enjoy this conversation. For those of you who are currently at a job that you enjoy, but you feel like you may be hitting the wall, or you're not sure why certain things aren't working the way that you feel they should work, this was for you. Now we're going to have, again, more conversations. I say this month, but we're going to have more conversations focused on making career moves, getting the job you want. And I don't want to say playing the game, but it's kind of like a game. Sometimes it feels that way. I do hope that you have taken some great information from this quick little, I like to say, lunch and learn. And we will see you all next week.